Alright then, those are easily findable without some difficulty. Instead, Byron can end up sort of like min-maxing, like, this class costs more. Is there anything in the papers about this particular professor? Check this. I don't know the description for it. There's clearly numerous typos in the brochure. Gonna really trust this one. I'm gonna go check this one. That's clearly what Byron does, right?
Exactly. Exactly like that too. But no, honestly, he's probably just going to pick the first computer classes at a convenient time, like between, whatever, 10 o'clock at night, I guess they have those. And, 1 or 2 days a week, and then he'll go from there. I don't know how the sign-up would be. Ordinarily, you could probably do it on the computer, but it's a catch-22 for Byron, so he'll figure that out.
Can you help me sign up?
Basically, since it's 2 o'clock in the morning, give or take, he's probably not going to deal with it tonight, but he wanted to get the brochure anyway.
Also, sorry about any brief flickering that might have occurred. Apparently today I've decided I don't remember how to use map tool. Like, let me keep pressing the player visible button. Derp, derp.
You press it 3 times and you get God mode, right?
So yeah, I even turned off the fog of war there for like 2 or 3 seconds, so all of the tokens were visible. If you guys pause the stream there, that's your one chance to see everything on the map. This map. Alright, in that instance, Marcus manages to return without too much incident, although he is short some quarters, and heads back into the Story of Queens.
I will regas up the economy car, then drop it off outside of Evelyn's place, and then...
Done and done.
What time is it?
We'll say after that, 2:47 in the morning.
Oh, he'll hunt once, and then, hopefully he doesn't go crazy from the shit he's seeing again.
Okay, go ahead and give me a whatever plus whatever, a difficulty 3. And if you don't have any skill points in whatever, then you're missing out. There you go.
Marcus is full up on blood. And then he's going to, try not to go crazy from the shit he's still seeing and feeling. And will continue to see and feel for the next 3 months.
Okay. What is Marcus thinking about perhaps fulfilling the old man's requirements in order to banish the little girl?
Well, he's thinking maybe he can use Joseph to learn the girl's name. He's thinking he can use Joseph to find something that's important to the little girl. And once he gets both of those things, he's going to drive back up to Yonkers with another mugger.
Okay.
That's his plan. Failing that, he's gonna have to do so. He's gonna have to be doing some research for a while.
Okay. Did any of you kindred wish to do anything else for the morning?
I think Joseph needs to feed.
Okay. Does he want to go hunting?
No, I
Yes.
think
Yes.
I think he's going to use his herd too, like he's
Okay.
supposed to.
In the safety of the church. Alright, he can summon forth his herd. And make some willpower rolls. Damn it, he succeeded on that one.
Come forth, my tasties.
I hate to see what would happen if he loses a willpower roll with the girl there. Something might happen.
She'd like fucking exacerbate his emotions, make it worse. Only 1 feed, huh?
Yeah, I'm just doing one a night.
Okay. That should take your blood pool up to 8 then, I think?
Yeah.
Alright. There anything else?
After he finishes talking with the detective, David will probably go hunting as well.
Okay. David, too, can make a whatever plus whatever at difficulty 3.
Yeah,
I don't
whatever
have-
plus whatever.
I don't have any dice and whatever, though.
Looks like it's a straight up, oh, you don't even have, oh, you fail.
Need to put, but I want to put points into throw rock. I can't
Alright,
put points into...
that's a success, Aaron.
You sure? I think the difficulty on his roll was at least 10. At least.
Well, even if it were 10, he'd still have succeeded.
Yep. Anyway, I've got ideas for 2 new targets.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I guess Byron will head on by the realty office and see if he can manage to sign up for classes. If he can't figure it out, he will leave a note for Evelyn to sign him up for, I don't know, call it a Tuesday, Thursday class or something.
Well, that's what Byron's gonna have to do. Not a goddamn clue, and heaven forbid, Byron has all these sorts of horror stories, like what happens if he fucks up in the signing up for classes? What does he do then? Like, hell with it.
Exactly. So he'll leave a note and he'll with the the number to call and all whatever. Yeah. Evelyn can figure it out.
Here's
She's
the
at least twice as
brochure.
smart.
This is what I want to do. Help me.
Pretty much. So he'll just leave the directions, say, give me a call when you get it set up, please, or leave me a message or whatever.
Or whatever. I didn't want to take those classes anyways.
Nah, he's had so much trouble with computers. He's like, all right, I might have to figure out how to turn one of these darn things on. I keep needing one, and it keeps being a problem. So.
All right. Anything else?
Not for that. Not for Byron. He's just gonna go back and do Ventrue things, I guess, for the next couple hours before bed.
Yes, let's open the paper and look at today's stock reports. Yes. Marcus is still sort of planning. He's planning the demise of this child.
Naturally.
This ghost. This child's ghost. Not the child. He doesn't want to kill the child. He just wants to get rid of the ghost.
Right, the kid's already dead. There's nothing Marcus can do for the kid.
Nope. So he's just sitting there thinking, how am I going to get her to give me her name?
As for Joseph, whenever he eventually ends up returning to the church from crazy Malkavian shit, it seems that tonight was apparently the night in which random things around the church would get moved into all sorts of different and inconvenient locations, which have immensely frustrated his two helpers. Where's the toaster oven? Oh, the toaster oven's apparently in the fucking attic. Alright. Where's...
Has it compromised security?
That's right, well, I mean... doors and windows haven't become unlocked or anything, although there is at one point, where's the key to lock the door? God damn it. And you know, oh, it's under pew 14. Next to these psalms. What the fuck?
As long as it doesn't compromise security, he gives no fucks.
Where the hell did this skull of this particular scarf go? Oh, it's sitting on top of Joseph's bed. Fantastic. Well, that's great.
Okay, that one's probably a little bit worse. He might actually give a fuck about that. Skulls need to stay in their bags.
That's right. Apparently,
See, now
somehow...
you're just being inconsistent.
This particular skull, you know, nothing, you know, to it. Although it does have both its upper and lower jaw. Of course, it has that fracture line from whenever there was a lot of blunt force trauma directed to it. And its particular scarf is Christmassy in nature. Red and green. It has some pine trees with lights on it and snowflakes.
If you're not going to specifically tell me which one's yours, it goes back in the bag.
Perhaps the most annoying thing of all is that the entire time, you know, Craig and Rain have reported nothing but, and then they do their personal mimicries of which is all that Joseph gets every time that he tries to initiate the conversation.
He's put up with worse.
I mean, if there's gonna be anyone who just goes whatever, it would be the Malkavian, right? Well, Joseph might be able to remain calm about it, but but both Craig and Rain are both certainly unamused about that. That's not to say they won't continue to assist Joseph in whatever ways possible. They've just had better moods. Joseph can see because he's intimately, well, no, he's just, well, you know, he spent a long time interacting with these two. He's familiar with them. And how their emotions end up playing on their faces because they could never hide anything from him.
If they bring it up, you've had worse. If they don't, nothing said.
They don't bring it up. They're not that stupid yet. Joseph did tell them to get smarter.
Joseph's an ass.
Alright. Anything else?
Not that I know of.
Alright then. Four little kindred go to sleep in their respective havens. Marcus has a little bit more trouble, courtesy of the fact that he keeps hearing and seeing things that he knows he should not be reacting to, yet there they are. And Joseph ends up finding himself, despite not being a light sleeper, every now and then throughout the course of the day, and he knows it's daytime. Craig and Rand experience the same problem. Only, you know, since it's daytime, they can actually escape from it. Other than that, the day passes uneventfully. You know, other than a ghost terrorizing a Malkavian. And his ghouls. And eventually, as the sun rises, so does the sun set. And perhaps 10:01, 10:02 p.m., sometime around there, each of the kindred manage to awaken, losing a point of blood in the process, game mechanics-wise, as their necrotic energies restabilize for the night. Byron will find an amused voicemail from Evelyn, giving him some specifications to his classes, clearly within the nighttime so that he can attend them if he so wishes.
Byron will be quite chuffed. What are the times for it?
You can decide the times. They're ones that you wanted to pick out.
All right, I'll just say, how many, a basic computer class, how many of those does he need to take? It doesn't seem like a huge time-consuming thing, but I could be wrong.
Introduction to computers. I don't know, man. Byron has lived a long, established life, and he has been lazy intellectually, coasting by a natural talent.
No, that is exactly true. I mean, he's been trying to change that a little bit, but definitely he is not. He's not studious. But I don't know.
It's possible that Byron may have to, just sort of like, part of the time might be required basically him, forcing himself to be patient with his studying instead of what he'd normally do, right?
Exactly, and he's going to find himself probably bored to tears in this class. So his mind will drift, and that will perhaps make it more time.
Ends up seducing all the pretty people in the class.
Oh yeah, he's going to be, yeah, he is, so I'm just going to say that even as simple as I personally think it would probably be, I'll say it's going to be one of those hour and a half, 2 days a week classes, maybe for a month. So Tuesday, Thursday, eight classes, I guess.
That's fine.
It's the beginning of the month, so I figured he'll just take the May classes. I think there's actually the first, was this Wednesday or Tuesday in May? It's like the 5th or 6th.
It is Wednesday, May 6th.
All right, call it a Wednesday, Thursday class then. Yep, so he'll go to that. It's going to be 10 to 11:30 every night, or those 2 nights. So he'll attend that tonight then.
Okay. But everyone else doesn't have themselves waking up to, at least David and Marcus. They wake up about as well as they can. Joseph, on the other hand, he arises. He doesn't have any sheets on his bed. One of the pillow covers is inverted. How did that happen?
Well, I can't say Joseph thrashing tonight. He literally sleeps like the dead.
Yep. And Craig and Rain definitely know better.
Maybe it's the Malkavian wearing off on them.
He told me to get smart. I'll show him. fuck with his pillow. And of course, as Joseph ends up arising for what he knows to be the night. And then nothing.
Well, not a lot he can do about it now.
Well, there sure is. You can get rid of the skulls. If, apparently the scars, whatever, apparently the girl, either one of those skulls are hers, one of the scars are hers, or perhaps both. And, she apparently was not tied to the Majestic. She was tied to some part of her, despite what might very well have happened at the Majestic. Despite what was certainly being kept at the Majestic. Although Joseph would reason, if he thinks about it, that him attempting to get rid of her, he'll recall that apparently she reacted poorly whenever Marcus attempted to leave her.
He can't abandon someone like that, especially not a little girl.
She's not a little girl anymore. She might be faking it.
Yeah, she might be faking. She might be the killer. Risk taker.
Well, at least he's lampshading it.
Yes, that makes everything better. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
No, it's more of the he cannot abandon someone like that. He will not. Unless he knows for sure that she is, still gotta protect her.
All right,
But,
ball's back in your court, players.
Marcus is gonna dial up Joseph.
Hello?
Ring ring. Hey, sup? How's the little ghost thing?
Fine.
You learn anything new?
No.
Like, you haven't learned her name?
No.
I mean, you have. I mean, she is sort of staying in your church. I mean, it would be common courtesy for her to tell you her name, right?
I don't think she's that comfortable yet.
Well, if you learn her name, that might help us find out what happened to her, you know?
Yeah, I am aware of that.
If you find anything else, call us. Call me. You know what you gotta do, yeah.
I hear you.
With that, Marcus is gonna hang up, and he's like, shit.
No, and with that, he's like, well, I'm a smooth motherfucker, aren't I?
Well, it's been like 4 days since we've heard anything happening in the city. So that means either all hell has broken loose or nothing has happened.
Certainly none of the acquaintances, you've made have, bothered call. But, it's perfectly cool and okay, It's, as a matter of fact, this might be a good thing, that you're not getting swept up into some other bullshit kindred drama.
Because I was like, Marcus might go to PS1 Contemporary Art Center just to figure out just to see what the gossip is, He's like, nah, every single time I go there and learn something, it always comes to bite me in the ass.
So it's better to be ignorant. At least I won't see it
Yes.
It's bliss?
Yep. So, Marcus is gonna go hang out in bars and play music for the evening and try to be normal for one night.
Alright. It, ends up, of course, he is impeded, either through flashes of sound that will strike for a second or two, or sights which perturb him, and it does make the schmoozing and relaxing more difficult, but, whenever he's heavily inebriated, he's found himself seeing all sorts of crazy shit, and as it turns out, it's... his mind can't fuck with him. Whatever he's poured down so much blood alcohol that, he has no intelligence dice.
Go away, Charlie. I don't even know who you are. You're drunk.
Are you in the jungle? Yeah.
Welcome to the jungle.
That's what the famed philosopher, Axel said. Well, we know Marcus Paulson's plans. What about you folks? Others.
Well, if nobody else wants to go, I'll, after Byron finishes his first class, I'm assuming he learned just huge amounts about, where the power switch is and, how to, turn on whatever, some word processor.
Here's your syllabus. Welcome to computers. Computers were first invented. Are you kidding me? I thought it was supposed to be technical and practical level. What the fuck did you say me?
It's like, wait, this is about computers. Why am I learning about World War II? I don't care. Who's Turing? Why do I care about him? Let's move on.
The professor ends up being, some sort of touchy-feely type, and like, in order to use the computer, you must first understand the computer. And are you fucking kidding me, lady?
You must taste the computer.
And the worst part, there isn't a cute girl at all in this class.
Nope.
Nope.
Or guy, for that matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'd have to be a freaking gorgeous guy, but yeah, there's no there's no appearance 4 or 5. I think the best girl is probably a 2. I'm just gonna say.
It's possible. You know, someone may approach a 3, but it's like, Byron's like, this is not good enough. I'm here. Why?
I would love if Byron actually had a meta concept where he was ranking people's appearances on a 5-point scale.
Well, he goes with the general 10-point scale, but I mean, for him, I mean, you know, normal mortals are just, I mean, yeah, it's whatever. Nobody really gets that high for him, so.
That's right. All right, that's Byron's, first chunk of evening. What about everyone else?
All right. I've kind of got an idea of the 2 people that the good detective would have pointed out to me. You want I should, paste what I wrote down about them in somewhere?
Sure, you can put it in the chat, or if you don't want to share with everyone else, you can just send it in Skype to me.
Oh god damn it, it didn't keep formatting.
Java doesn't keep your formatting. What the hell are you talking about?
Fuck your shit.
Alright, the first one is Michelle Espada, a hard-ass beat cop, staunchly principled Catholic, a crack shot and disliked by many of her peers for being a business-like asshole, and well-liked by superiors for that.
Her last name is
reason.
Sword? Wait, what does Espada mean in Spanish?
Sword.
Making sure, because it's one of the few Spanish words I know besides what Spanish words do I know?
Empanada, taco,
Moving on.
burrito,
And John Worthing.
Enchilada.
quesadilla.
What about those tortillas? I love them.
Alright, and then John Worthing, a senior municipal dispatcher stationed at the 114th. He dispatches to calls that others might think are pranks or hoaxes and is correct just often enough to be given, something approaching praise instead of, being knocked the fuck down. So, David's gonna kind of use whatever information that Mr. Farnsworth was able to give him to try to track these people down and figure out an avenue of approach.
Farnsworth will say that, while he's not exactly the best investigator, he does have, some things that he can pull in as well if the situation calls for it. So if David wants something looked into with the resources of the 114th Precinct, whether it be present or past, Howard Farnsworth volunteers, because he wants to be useful to, apparently, the person who has given him this crazy surge of power that he's become addicted to, as means by which objectives could be researched pertaining to the neighborhood, should David so wish it.
Well, David will tell him that he would like him to make sure that everything about Miguel Vargas's death and the investigation of his death was all just above board. He's not saying that it wasn't, just, reassurance.
Alright. Is there anything else that David might have his eye on?
Nah, that's about it.
Alright.
So he's basically going to be snooping and spying tonight.
Alright. Well, the 2 individuals that you've listed would certainly both live in Astoria. Probably in, you'd say, Astoria tends to be middle class itself, and typical sort of environs for the neighborhood. An apartment, one of the buildings somewhere, one that's obviously going to have, decent security, at least, not an open gaping sore like a lower class situation would, just because, they're law enforcement officers and they clearly have a better sense of how to protect themselves. In which case, these two individuals, I mean, they can either be day or night cops, I guess you could say, depending on what, you want. They can either work during the day and then be at home, sleep during the night, or work during the night.
Well, in this case, with one being a dispatcher and the other being a beat cop, I imagine they have pretty irregular hours.
That's perfectly true. Just, they tend to have schedules that they want to keep to, but if the situation demands it, they could be called out at any hour.
But I'm thinking that, let's see, Worthing would probably prefer the evening hours, considering his habit of sending people out to weird calls. And Espada would probably prefer the daytime, just because, come the fuck on, who wants to be a beat cop at night?
I imagine these two individuals were as close as David could get to without families.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. I'm thinking that Michelle Espada would probably have a bit of a family but be unmarried, and John Worthing would probably be divorced or something.
Alright. I don't have a problem with that.
And David's mostly going to try and spy on them and see if, their apartments have any security, possible avenues of approach for kidnapping them, because he doesn't want them to fucking run this time. Shit like that.
Okay. Certainly, David's not going to counter anything that's, so quirky as to be out of the ordinary. It just so happened that Albert Fonz were with a confluence of events, say, for example, living in an apartment building that had bars on its windows. It's, standard security in which, wouldn't deter individuals, especially if said individual knew that a law enforcement officer was living within the apartment. But David reasoning out, it's nothing that, it'd be standard difficulty for him to break in with a bit of larceny and, seeing as how these individuals live alone, and depending on their, whether they're out or not, he'd just have to find a way to deal with that person, perhaps in a means that he could perhaps not kill them, because David is very strong.
I mean, if you insist. But yeah, quick question. Carrying an unconscious person over your shoulder while using obfuscate, do they vanish too?
You would have to use Cloak the Gathering in order to obfuscate any individual who's near you in addition to yourself. That would be Obfuscate 5.
Alright, so would they just look like they were, like, hovering in the air, or would it just immediately break the obfuscate?
I think that such a large presence, like an entire human body on top of you, would legitimately shatter the illusion that you weren't there without Cloak the Gathering.
Alright, in that case he'll also be doing things like mapping out pathways through alleyways and stuff like that, where he thinks that he could quietly and without too much fuss bring them back to his haven. So this is easily going to take him all night. Just planning.
Okay. Certainly something you can do. And for Joseph, what would Joseph like to partake in?
I think he's probably going to be taking care of his normal just like upkeep with the church, his cult, his skills, that sort of stuff tonight.
All right. And taking care of upkeep of the church. Apparently, this individual has apparently she's taken to like, say for example, this month's financial records, bills for the site and what have you. They've gone missing.
That would probably piss Joseph off, and probably make him yell a little bit.
It's, but of course, you know, normally the ghouls would take care of this or help as well. Just, like, here's, blah, blah, blah account statements for, oh my god. Well, hell. And, while Joseph is being upset, let me go ahead and roll something here. All right, that plus that. Difficulty that.
Not that.
Okay, the difficulty level is Humanity 6, which is 2 successes. Joseph finds himself as he's getting frustrated at financial records and disappearing and causing him to get angry. Finds his thoughts and feelings amplified even further, turning his mild irritation and frustration at the ghost into a welter of quivering rage. For one entire hour during the course of the night, in which blistering and seething Joseph will will fully embrace his hatred in whatever way that you might see fit, Sean.
Well, I don't think it's enough for him to use any blood, so he'll be failing to turn things over in his rage.
Poor Joseph.
He'll be bending down, grabbing a pew, and heaving for like 2 minutes, until it finally just tips over.
I hate you! I wish I'd never brought you here!
Probably because Craig came over and secretly put his foot under it.
I will harm you!
The charity donation box just, have to, like, smash it against the wall.
Ah!
You're trying to destroy me!
It doesn't even break open.
I will end you! And then you're so much fun. What do you mean I'm fun? She is clearly loving this. Only exacerbating and goading on Joseph in his passionate rage even further about how much fun he is to play with. During everyone else's activities, we'll go ahead and we'll focus back on Joseph. It takes about an hour for him to wind down, but he'll end up finding himself in the middle, perhaps trying to lift a pew or banging his hands against the table, where the quivering sort of fury that had consumed him, reminding him as if one of his victims' souls had managed to possess him, only for a shorter amount of time. It manages to subside, leaving him sort of with a hollow shell as the emotion drains out.
Well, I know what the fuck caused that.
Joseph, being intimately familiar with demontation, would say that, perhaps the ghost can attempt to do something similar to what he can do to the minds of mortals.
Can you teach me the next ability?
Joseph says that out loud.
He will. He's not going to get a response. I doubt he's going to get a response.
The next... Excuse me. The next what?
The next... if you don't know, I probably can't. You probably don't know it.
No, I'm just doing what comes natural to me in this hellish state.
So how do we change that state?
Well, I'm certainly not the most knowledgeable, having been imprisoned and trapped here for so long, but I don't suppose there's any way to bring me back to life, is there?
Not that I know of, though there are people that may. I would not trust them at all, though.
In that case, this is the best that I have. And I have 3 new friends. You understand me far better than Marcus ever did.
Can you at least tone down the things that, actually fuck with our day-to-day lives?
Why do you even care about those things anyway? Look at you, you're all different. Why do you even have to keep track of such things? Why not play all night? Why do you sleep during the day? What's wrong with you? Are you sick?
Yeah, because if I see the sun, it would be a very bad thing, and you probably wouldn't see me again.
Oh. Marcus slept during the day, too. I assumed he was sick as well, and that's why I looked after him. I'll have to keep that in mind.
I am not sure whether this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Does Joseph also say that?
No, that's out of character.
Okay.
Though he thinks it. He's not sure whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, she knows. Well, music soothes the raging beast. Maybe it'll soothe the crazy beast. He'll play the violin for the rest of the night.
Alright. Shortly after he begins playing that, though, he'll actually hear...
What the hell was that?
That's not very exciting.
Well, then what would you prefer to do?
How do you have fun? What do
Joseph
you do?
will start playing the violin again. As soon as she says, what do you do to have fun? Joseph will start playing the violin again.
That's... what? What is wrong with you? When you said you were sick, you weren't kidding. I'm going to help you have fun.
This is gonna end badly.
I'd say it's already ended badly.
No, so far it's going well. But that'll be probably an out loud statement.
All right, just keep doing that, and we'll see what I can do for you. And as Joseph perhaps sits there in some measure of alarm. What is Joseph's perception plus self-control?
7.
Not the crushing result that that she had for Marcus. Okay, so Joseph begins to feel this odd malaise has settled down as a sort of fog over his brain and a weight over his shoulders. Although Joseph has quite the fractured insight into the world the way it is, firmly believing with absolute certainty that he consumes the souls of others, he ends up finding the rest of his entire night sort of haunted with accusations, the scorn of the souls he has partaken in, particularly those who have completely controlled him at one point or another, forcing him to be locked up in some sort of panic room, and before he had a panic room, forcing him into the sort of antics and devastation, the wanton destruction of his life that only such a creature could perform. Just sort of glimpses of his tragic past.
I think he probably takes it a lot better than most would.
Certainly in comparison to Marcus, who's not used to that at all, Joseph is used to losing control over his body. But that being said, considering that, how tragic it is, that, there might be a moment where there was a child that he couldn't end up saving for one reason or another, someone that he thought he liked fed on the kid in front of him, and he remembers frenzying and losing control over it. All of the people he's tried to caretake and save, throwing accusations at him for his failures.
Oh yes, there is certainly one child he failed to save.
Yeah.
And that's probably his biggest haunting. And it's a chance for him to atone for his sins. Assuming it doesn't scare him to the point where he literally has to spend blood to piss himself.
No, that is not necessary. It's not something that'll completely take control, merely sensory visitations. Joseph's familiar with this too, because he's pretty sure he did it to fucking deputy inspector before he retired from the police force.
Which is why he retired from the police force.
Joseph's pretty sure, yes, but with that amount, that's going to be just mechanics-wise, the haunting is just going to be following Joseph for the entire night. So while he tries to focus himself into comfort and relaxation by playing the violin, which will disappoint the little girl because she was hoping that you would have more fun. But she can go to hell, right?
She very well may. If Marcus has his way.
Alright. With Marcus living it up as much as he can, and Joseph living it up as much as he can. And David scrutinizing how he might attempt to begin an approach with his surveillance. We have Byron getting out of class. Oh dear sweet Jesus, thank God.
Yeah, Byron needs something to do. He's been trying not to fidget that much, but he wanted out of that stupid classroom, and he probably didn't hear the last half hour. He was probably daydreaming about, I don't know, pretty girls or something, anything but listening. So,
does Byron dream of electric sheep?
No, not electric ones.
He dreams of beautiful, beautiful blood-filled sheep.
Yes, that he does. That he does. Yeah, Byron is only into the pretty sheet. Just laying that out there. All right. So, yeah, he's going to run down to the Lucky Ace, blow off some steam. Maybe he'll find Edward there, and if not, he'll just be doing something other than sitting in a classroom.
Okay. Wait, fuck. Wow, I'm having an old people moment. Could you repeat that for me, Krypsyn?
Oh, I'm heading down to the Lucky Ace.
Alright. Damn, that went right out of my head. Oh, that was bad.
It happens.
I'm like, yeah, sure, Krypsyn, alright. Wait, what did you say?
Well, I mean, it is Byron thinking these thoughts. It's understandable that you lose interest. I mean, it's like, yeah. Wait, you said something semi-important? Oh, okay.
This is a novel concept. I'm not sure where to go from here.
But yeah, he's mainly looking to blow off steam, but if he meets Edward there, he will, try to chat him up,
Perhaps in a confluence of nice and pleasant events here, as we're into the sort of midnight aspect of Thursday morning. Not only does Byron have a decent, wait time before he gets into the club, but he does, in fact, see Edward there, drinking a glass of bourbon, sort of just not talking to anyone, just pleasantly enjoying the scenery, while the same bartender that Byron had noticed the last time he was here, just, polishing glasses, half listening to patrons, not caring, but, it's what bartenders do.
Right, and I did take 2 points off to blush up, and Byron is not directly going to go over to Edward, but he's going to sit like on the other side of the bar, and he's actually going to take a closer look at the bartender, because that whole encounter with him the previous night, that was just left him wondering.
Right.
So
the bartender is a middle-aged gentleman. You would guess be mid-40s, you'd say. Graying temples, bushy mustache, well trimmed, but still a very thick one. Sort of droops over the corners of his lips. It's clear by his maneuvering, which are not wasteful, sort of like he's being economic with them, that he has been in this profession for a long time. With the way that he's able to, Byron's certainly familiar with the sort of bullshit that you'd end up doing at a social event or conversation, where it looks like you care, like you're mimicking the concept of caring, but it's actually true that, he doesn't. But anyone who's inebriated or intoxicated is just going to end up spewing out anything to him anyway. You might be the most knowledgeable person in the entire room, simply by how many loose lips have ended up coming through. He's currently polishing off one section of the bar, standing, on the other side of the counter. There are two individuals who are just talking away about some sort of economic deal or another that fell through, and what sort of plans and processes they're going to go through now. And they're talking about it low. The bartender could apparently hear. He's just nodding along. And maybe give like a 1 or 2 word reply, as if they're asking the noble bartender sage for advice, and he's like, sounds good. He has a rich, deep voice from what Byron would recall. No, it's possible that he is suspicious, though. I mean, that drink that Byron made, apparently he was amused by this at one point, but made it all the same. Tasted, Well, then again, Byron didn't have more than a little tiny sliver of it, so that he wouldn't have to throw up that much later.
yeah, he would take it into his mouth a little bit, then probably not swallow, just kind of let it evaporate off. And
he's wearing nice clothes, a white dress shirt, dark dress pants. Obviously, since it's a well-to-do establishment, he's likely not in control of his own clothes. A bit of a sort of individual with a lot of body hair. You can see it on the backs of his hands, as well as despite the shirt, a little tuft peeks out right behind his neck. Not that he looks, unkempt, just that he's a fairly muscular and well-kept individual who has been partaking in this business for quite some time.
Interesting. So, Byron will take note of this, and he'll watch him a while. He'll also, since you mentioned the overhearing, that reminded me, Byron's going to try out auspex, just at random places. He's going to try to raise his hearing up and see if he can hear people across the room. He's not really looking for any information. He's just playing around with his new power a little bit to see what it can do.
Okay.
Cue the loud noise now.
It's certainly, so yeah, Byron finds himself adjusting his, and tweaking his senses slowly, courtesy of the loud clamoring that's happening in the bar, as well as Marcus's firm warnings for any sudden sort of disturbance could easily disorient Byron. Nevertheless, he finds his senses sharpened. His hearing beyond what had normally been capable of, and he's able to discern, the stammerings and stutterings of speech, the press of lips as individuals end up wetting them in preparation of speaking, or the gulping and other bodily sounds as they imbibe certain adult beverages and engage in upper-class adult entertainment. The sliding of the secret door as it, opens after twisting an object mounted on the wall 90 degrees to the left. Soft feminine giggling as they are daintily escorted downstairs, along with loud, uproarious laughter and all sorts of crazy shenanigans, while engaging in other forms of adult entertainment, such as involving cards. What do you know? The bartender from his part, you can notice he's breathing. You don't need any sort of course perception. He's definitely breathing, although, and he has colored flesh. As far as you can tell, he's human. He's not so attractive that Byron would be interested in him, but well kept. In this such an establishment, he doesn't look out of place. The man and the woman who are talking about like business sort of affairs next to him that the bartender's sort of listening to, they're laughing gaily, just sort of like, shit happens, not every deal you make's gonna fall through, is gonna come through, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. The greatest risk of all is not taking any. Well, there's a whole exception to the rule, philosophical argument things that end up coming up in these bars more often than not with no clear answer.
Been there, done that. Have the smoke-drenched T-shirt, I guess. So Byron will, when the bartender comes around, he'll order a Crown and Coke and just kind of nurse it while he's doing that, I guess. And he'll do that for a good half hour.
You'll notice the bartender doesn't give you a bemused expression. Like, all right, Crown and Coke seems fair enough. And, he easily provides you with such.
Fantastic. So, yeah, he'll just watch the thing. He'll kind of, out of the corner of his eye, he'll watch Edward and see if Edward takes any notice of him or not. And if he does, he'll walk on over there. If not, he'll just kind of scope it out and then leisurely walk over there.
In the process of sitting here at the bar, Edward, as Byron knows him, does end up, his eyes glance over, raise the glass in greeting. Edward goes on to looking over at other things, although that could be the moment where Byron's like, "Yep, he's totally waving me over. Oh."
Yeah, I mean, Byron will walk over there and, he'll say, hey, so what's the news? How's it going?
He shrugs. Oh, same old, same old. I imagine your personal business isn't taken care of, and that's why you're still in town.
Yeah, it's run into a few snags, actually, and that's one of the reasons I came by this bar. I thought maybe there was something you could help me with.
Lifts a brow. Snags, you say?
Exactly. Is there a place we can go to and talk more privately about this?
I think here should be all right. Can't quite say I know you, sir. Who did you say whose interest you were here for again?
I work for all the Hartford insurance agencies. I just lobby for them.
Ah, yes, right. Well, I still don't quite remember hearing anything particular about those coming up in City Hall, but come, have a seat. But what are these snags?
Well, honestly, and then this time Byron will spend a point of blood and try to use awe here. It's like, yeah, it's I really would rather, take this to a more private place to talk about it. It's not exactly the most above board, if you get my drift.
Okay. Go ahead and make a charisma plus performance roll in difficulty 7.
And would enchanting voice have an effect?
I think we've had this conversation before about
It doesn't even matter. I mean, I rolled 2 10s, but yeah. We have had it, and I never can remember. Well, I mean, it could go either way with that. So, for me, anyway. But I think you said no. So
I'd say no. I don't know. I just went with no. It felt right at the time. Because I went with it, I'm totally keeping to it.
No, it's fine. I just couldn't remember how it came out. So, but we can go with no.
Let's see. At the presentation of Byron's persuasive argument, there's a few curious things you end up seeing from Edward. First, his brow twitches and the muscles in his face as well as his body tighten up. And then the sort of look in his eyes change as he tilts his head and gives you a praising look. The sort of scrutiny almost gives Byron the sensation that maybe he wasn't looking at you. And now all of a sudden he's now decided to actually look at you. It's a curious sort of supernatural sense, but, Byron certainly remembered this as a human, like the curious prickling in his head and along his body. It's just like, ha.
Interesting. Well, I mean, Byron will keep his poker face and just look intent on his question.
See, no. In that case, some awkward silence ends up passing between you two, although by no means has the club gone silent. And then the lips curl upward as Edward smiles and raises his glass and says, "Nah, although I appreciate the offer, I find business, among others, to be far more suitable to my liking. You have a good night, sir."
Byron will raise an eyebrow and shrug, I guess, and say, all right, well, have a good night. he is truly baffled, but he is still...
Byron would notice, being in tune and managing to succeed on a hidden perception roll, there are definitely, the man perhaps is, maybe using the moment to disguise, what could be nervousness on his part. Beads of sweat, forming along the brow, and the edges of his hair, and maybe a little bit of nerves coming along his arm. Certainly Byron would reason that, as awe usually fucking works. But he also knows that anyone has the penchant who actually knows about the discipline and power, and can recognize it for what it is, to resist it, providing they're strong enough will-wise. As such, for, Edward himself must at least be a character both who recognizes it and has the will required to refute it. Meaning, he is definitely, not an ignorant human.
Right. I'm trying to think of what Byron would do here. My two choices that I see are to leave and call up either Joseph or probably David to come by and help him stake out this place so he can, get this guy alone, which was his intent, so he can, dominate and force him to drink his blood and thus ghoulify him. But now he's kind of stepped it up a notch, this guy, and so I'm not sure if he's going to do that, or if he's going to try if he's going to try suggestion or something like that. Is that what it's called? I never can remember. The second dominate ability.
Mesmerize.
Mesmerize. Yeah, I always get it confused with D&D with the suggestion. So.
It's possible that even in such a loud establishment with the, any sort of jostling and what have you, Byron would certainly recall, his attempts to infiltrate the club the last time and how just the annoying noise of the crowd as it ridiculed him fuck with him. But here, no one's excoriating him for having cut in line. And Byron, is, confident enough in his own capabilities inside his head that if he so wished it, he could attempt to do such a thing, yes.
Right. I'm just trying to think. I don't see, like you say, I don't think Byron has ever had someone straight up refuse him on this, at least not in this game, but I don't even think...
the sheriff did.
Okay, not someone he thinks is like a human. Yeah, the sheriff did, of course, threw it back in his face, but that was the sheriff. And the sheriff was not nervous like this. I mean, it wasn't tough for the sheriff, so it was a little different.
Fairness, Kadir, being a sheriff, had definitely been a vampire for longer than Byron, would have easily seen such things, and as he proved with his dread gaze, was definitely capable of throwing down such things.
I mean, he was a Toreador.
Right. I mean, that's the thing, is that in that case, I think Byron knew it was a long shot and didn't really expect it to work. He just hoped it did. In this case, he was expecting no friction at all. He just thought it'd be easy. Just another, lick stick, as Matt would put it. I mean, who cares? But I think that, Byron in this case is, he is going to notice the nerves, and he's going to hold his gaze, hold Edward's gaze for a moment, and just say, quite right, quite right. You have a nice night then. And he's going to walk out. And as soon as he walks out the door, he's going to call David up.
Byron, again, being incredibly observant with this, with what I rolled really well again, with the Auspex feeding him. As he steps away, Edward definitely turns his back to them, and he can noticeably spot out of the corner of his eye the sort of the glass itself is like rattling, As if now that Byron has begun walking away, he can't keep the hand still. And like as if a shudder of relief has passed over the gentleman.
Huh. Well, in that case, he's not going to call David right away. He's going to, he's actually just going to go out front and wait around the corner with a view of the front of the establishment. Hopefully he can see Edward leave unless Edward decides to hop out the back, which Byron may or may not notice.
Alright, Byron sets up camp there with a good view of the exterior, given how well lit it is. If Edward certainly does come out this way, Byron will notice for sure. Alright, with Marcus and Joseph indisposed from that, essentially we'll take a look at David. Just to mix and match our fun here with another flavor.
All right.